Dude, pointed stick.
Pointed stick! Pointed stick!
Pointed stick.
Pointed stick.
Pointed stick?
Pointed stick!
Whoa, pointed stick.
That pointed stick.
Pointed stick!
Pointed stick. We don't have any time for your trolling behavior on this channel. It just isn't welcome here. And so, good riddance to you.
All right, so here we go. Oh my God, I'm a little out of it right now. Anyway, let's see. Let's get this up and running. All right, so the whole purpose behind this, Ten got a hold of me, right? Well, through comments and stuff like that, and you know, nobody's seen him for a while. It's good to see him. Not gonna lie, man. Good to see him. I think I talked about it. Well, no, I didn't actually talk about it in the last video because, you know, I didn't want to out him. He didn't really tell me that he wanted to be outed, so I was just like, whatever, you know. But he's the one that sent me that last video. He found the link to it and all that sort of stuff. Which was, I mean, interesting. And I think somebody finally found the video that actually came from. And it's not just that which is actually interesting. Let me see if I can actually dig that video up here. Because it's, well, nah, I probably can. It's on LVSA's channel. But yeah, somebody did actually find that video. And the reason that it's Screwball got the lights, all that sort of stuff, it's taken from the ground the night of the shooting. It seems like a legitimate video. As far as the smoke coming out and the zooming in and all that sort of stuff, that's a little different because the video is from quite a distance away. So it looked like somebody actually zoomed in on it, and, you know, maybe the smoke was AI. The person walking up to the window doesn't look like it was AI. I don't know. I haven't really watched it again. I just kind of glanced over it last night. Because to me, that video is bullshit anyway. I don't really care about it too much. But anyway, 10 is back. 10 is back, which is interesting. You know, I'm just gonna say this, man. Like, you know, when I first started, you know, 10 had a little bit of controversy because he was kind of he explains it in this video, right? So you're gonna have to watch it, but he explains in this video how he did kind of have a thing with Hoover for a short time there, and it was about that time when I started this channel. I remember because something was going on, and he kind of, it was, I didn't like Hoover, you know, at that point. I didn't like Hoover. So I didn't want anything really to do with anybody Hoover was related to. So when 10 shouted me out the first time, I did kind of blow back on him a little bit. And that was kind of the reason. I just didn't want to have anything to do with Hoover at all. And, you know, but he was the first guy to shout my channel out. He's the reason that a lot of people that, I mean, look, there's not a lot of people that still watch this stuff. There's not a lot of people that still watch me, honestly. I mean, I don't know if I'd watch my own damn videos. Well, I don't watch my own damn videos, but, you know, I don't know if I would if I was just not me. And, you know, because I kind of went into the path of boredom here, the path of kind of dry content. But yeah, 10 is you know, what he did was you know, when I first did my channel, I had nobody watch. I think I had three people. I think I had like 3 subs for the first like 5 videos or something like that. And then one day it blew up. I forget why. I think I don't remember. I mean, I probably told this story a million times, and then but I don't remember it anymore. You know, shit, 10 years in, and I can't remember shit. But then one day, 10 shouted me out. All of a sudden, I had 300 people sub to this channel. It's crazy. And then after a while, I mean, it got to the point where I started doing drama, dude, and I was getting all kinds of people watching this stuff, telling me what to do next, all that sort of good stuff, man. We had a lot of community involvement. Let's put it that way. It was interesting. It was interesting. I never expected that. Didn't mean for that to happen. And yeah, it just wasn't a thing. I got a phone call right now, but I'm gonna have to mute that because that's not what we're doing right now. Give me a sec here. But hold on one sec. All right, sorry, I had to get rid of that. Anyway, so 10 shouted me out. So I figured I'd do him the favor of shouting this out too, because he did ask me to do it, and in this video he kind of says, I don't care, all that sort of stuff. Who sees this and all that sort of stuff, and he says to go ahead and share it. I wasn't really gonna mess with it too much, but then he did say he sent a comment under the last video I did, saying that oh man, excuse me, hold on. Holy shit, coffee down the wrong pipe. That's not good. But he did ask for people to share it, so wow. And I really don't know how to do this. I put the link in the comments. In fact, I'll put the link right here, and we'll do this right now. And there's the link to this. So in the chat, we have a link. And if that doesn't come through, let me do a little bit of this here real quick. Whoops. I don't want to be that big. What the hell, man? How about this? All right. I don't know. I know there's a way to do this, but I'm gonna mess with it here. So anyway, there. Above my little icon there, you can see the name of his new channel, Common Sense. But I did put the link in the in description there. Yes, I found 10, or 10 found me. I didn't find him. He found me. Well, we're gonna say that he found me. I didn't find him. Anyway, I think, like I said, this is the first video I think he's done in a very long time having to deal with Vegas. And, you all know that he's into politics, stuff like that now. It's all good. To each his own, man. But he decided to do a video on Vegas, and this is I'm not going to go through this whole damn thing. I may go through a little bit of it though. But this video is an hour and a half long, and he broke down kind of everything that he thought, and some of the things that he thought I'd never heard in a 10 video before, and I was like, damn, some of that makes a lot of fucking sense. I was very impressed. I don't agree with everything he said. There's some things that I'm just like, I don't know, man. Speculation, but I'm just, I was thoroughly entertained. As I always am with 10 videos. But I'll play this a little bit. He starts again with pictures, photos. This is probably all stuff from his what I always called my junk drawer, which is just all the photos from Vegas that I just someday may use again. But this is I think that's what he did. He went and he found a bunch of old photos that he Now that's interesting. That photo there, man. I don't remember ever seeing that before. Oh shit! Wait. I want to see that again. Because he says in the video, like he kind of describes some of these photos. Oh, remember that? Remember that? Remember those videos, man? The hand in front of the television. Oh my god, those are classic. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Hey there.
Hey there.
Tim speaking.
Yep.
Bet you
There he
didn't
is.
think you'd see this, huh?
No, I didn't.
No, I'm not into this research stuff on that October the 1st shooting any longer. About once a year, I will do a YouTube search and I will filter it.
Also, like I said, I put the link in the description here. So, if you want to watch this for yourself, because like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just wanted to show people that this is out there, man. That Homeboy's here. He does kind of say at the end he doesn't want to be. He wants to be. He doesn't want to deal with this really anymore. He just wanted to kind of get out what he had to say. But I'm sure if you comment on there, I'm sure he'll get back to you. I'm sure he will.
To
Like I have a feeling he's still doing a lot of mostly just political stuff, but it's fine.
you can filter it from the last day, the last week, the last month, or the last year. And about once a year, sometimes a year and a half, I'll type in Stephen Paddock, and then I'll go up to the top right on my phone, and you can hit filter, and then and you can filter it, like I said, and I'll hit last year.
So you're still interested, man. Don't tell me you're not still interested when you're doing a search every year, man. You're still into it. You can never get away from this crap. Nobody can ever pull away from this crap.
So it'll show, and then you change it from any to videos, and then you just boom, enter it, and you get a list of all the videos in the last year, and you just sit there with your finger and you do this, and you're like, nothing, right? I mean, of course, there's still a bunch of people still blaming it on the Saudis and still thinking the windows aren't broke. And
I just want to say, dude, that lamp. I have that lamp sitting right behind me. I have that exact lamp, except mine's brown. But I have that exact lamp sitting behind me. It's crazy. I have two of them. I don't remember where I bought them from, but I did buy two of those lamps.
And oh God, what else? Gun sale. I mean, you name it. And then you got these younger podcasters that have this multi-$1,000 studio set up, and
I think the gun sale is actually a plausible thing. Come on. You're bagging on my theory, man.
They got 80,000 subscribers, and they'll sit there and talk to each other, and they'll rehash all that same old bullshit that was incorrect from way back.
But like me and him mostly agree on a lot of this stuff, man. Like I agree, what he's basically just trashing on is all these fucking idiots like the Redacted podcast, all these stupid people that are what's that guy? Oh God, the dime store Fonzie dude that's running around with his conspiracies and stuff like that. I can't remember his name, but all these people that are running around talking about the Saudi stuff, kissing Hoover's ass and all that, just all the fly-by-nights that are coming into this, pretending to be experts on what's happening with Vegas. It's just, it's kind of annoying. It is annoying.
Back in the day, that was incorrect. They don't want to talk. They don't know anything. They're just trying to get views and the weird thing is they're making money off that shit, man. They're making money. They got commercials and then the commenters. It's crazy. So anyway, I had found when I was scrolling through that list, I got.
Damn, you got a tiny ass list, dude. You got a tiny ass grocery list, dude. You're gonna go for an hour and a half, dude. Homie, you got good memory, bro. Like, I envy that. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Because me, if I was gonna write a list like that, dude, it'd be a couple pages. Yeah, it was not good. Back when I used to do my channel and I used to script everything, holy shit, man, I had to write down every single word. Like here's something that I used to do, man. back in the day, before I started doing these live streams, stuff like that, back when you couldn't do live streams till you had 1,000 subs, uh, I used to script everything, and the reason I scripted everything is because I just didn't want to say the wrong thing, you know, because back then there was a little more. I don't know how to say it, man. It was just we had to be a little more careful what we said, and you know, I didn't want to say the wrong thing, so you know, I would script everything. I would script it. I'd read it. I'd say that don't sound like me. So I'd add a couple F words in the middle of it. Okay, now that kind of sounds like me. And I'd read it verbatim, like verbatim, dude, exactly every word on that thing. And I know a couple times, man, I screwed up, and but it wasn't live, right? So you're doing videos, and you're reading the script, you know, and you type something in wrong, or you know, you screwed something up, and it comes out sounding stupid. You have to redo the whole damn video again, all that sort of stuff. Man, when I used to do that, dude, I used to have pages of shit. Oh, it was bad. It was bad. It was horrible. I hated writing that stuff down. So now I just shoot from the hip, kind of just say what I gotta say. Sometimes I'll put bullet points and stuff like that, and I'll just talk about it. That's why I do lives instead of the regular videos. I just don't like doing videos anymore, to be honest with you. It's easier just to turn this thing on and just start talking. I'm wondering if the hotel room lights would have been behind him while he was firing. I'm thinking that there was something in the fit report that said the room was dark. Yeah, uh, 10 actually has a theory about that, which is crazy, which I'd never thought of. Like I said, this video, man, it did open my eyes to a couple of possibilities that I was like, dude. Um, if you're talking about that video that just came out, I said, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's legit. You know, that guy, it looks like, because that video, I don't have it up right now. But they were talking about it in Discord. Somebody actually found it, which I was surprised. He found that damn thing. On Las Vegas Shooting Archive, it's the video is actually titled Las Vegas Shooting Mandalay Bay SC. I'm not sure what that even. I don't even know what that means. To be honest with you, South Camera maybe. 9:50 p.m. to 3 a.m. Was the video that was taken from, I guess. And at some point, which is probably during the shooting, they do actually zoom in on that room. So I think whoever's controlling that camera thought that might have been the shooter in that room. Where the smoke is coming from in that video, that's questionable, because when you watch the video itself, it is like zoomed way out, and somebody had to zoom way in to get to that. And you know, there's two people in that room, I guess. You know, like I said, I didn't really pay attention to it. I didn't pay too much attention to the video. That, you know, because the guy found it last night. This person in the Discord, he found it last night and linked it, and then I watched a little bit of it, and I saw what he was seeing a little bit. But again, you're gonna have to like watch that on a big screen. I was watching on my phone, you know, because they had to zoom that video in, because that video is kind of crappy actually. But and then I don't know where the smoke coming out of the window was from, if that was even part of the video or if that was added in later. I don't know.
I'm not kidding you, probably 120 to 150 videos down. And I just was rolling with my fingers because all it was showing was the newest stuff on
and he's talking about how he found it and all this
Stephen
stuff.
Paddock.
I may skip through a little bit on this.
In the last year. The last would be going back inside the room, and the whole room would have been, where those window spaces were open, the whole room would have been a strobe light. And that would have been seen by everybody in the world. So I knew it was fake right away.
See, I agree with the man. Like, he's actually right. Like, and that's something I didn't even think about. I remember when I watched this video, and I didn't even comment this to him, but you know, if he watches this, which he might. I'm thinking he might actually watch this. I never thought about that. You know, that is actually a good fucking point. That, yeah, dude, it'd be like a disco in that room, man, with that light going off like crazy. Because with that camera zoomed in, you would actually see it. Now I understand how you can't see it from the ground, from a normal viewpoint because mirrored windows, all that sort of stuff. Uh, and it was all the camera footage is from very far away, so looking for a white spot on a building turning into a or seeing a dark spot on a building all of a sudden turning into a light spot on a building. Just yeah, okay. There's strobes all over that damn building, but this thing was like zoomed in on that room, so I don't know. No, he's talking about okay, so what he's talking about, I'm sorry, I skipped a little bit. What he's talking about is he's talking about that video that I showed the last time. The weird video that looks like it's showing the shooting, the shooter, the last video that I had. And that's where this all stemmed from, right? I'm sorry, Dan. I'm gonna
Very
There we go. That's a better picture. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yeah, stop you on a bad angle. Anyway, so the yeah, there was that video. He's the one that found that video. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to the beginning, right? Because I'm probably not explaining this very well. That video that I did, I think a couple days ago or whatever, there was a video that looked like it was the guy shooting out the window. And it was interesting. But it was sent to me by 10, and I knew it was him right away. I knew exactly who it was. I mean, 10's guy's ways of getting a hold of you, and he's one of the only ones that does it, the way he does it. And so, I knew it was him, and he sent me that video, sent me a link to that video, and he asked me what I thought about it. And that's the first time I'd heard from him in shit, I don't know, 3 years, something like that. I hadn't heard this from this guy in a while. And we all kind of were wondering what happened to him. And so then I went and did that video about that video, basically. And a couple days ago, and I never mentioned where I got it from. I wasn't gonna, because I didn't know if he wanted to have anything to do with Vegas anymore, or wanted anything to do with the community that this is centered around anymore. So I didn't say his name. I didn't say nothing. I just, until he said otherwise, I was like, I'm gonna leave him out of it, and I'm just gonna talk about it. But he's the one who found that video. So what he is he's talking about that video, how he found the video, and all that sort of stuff. He just described that, and now he's describing the video itself. And he's saying that, like, in that video, you don't see muzzle flashes, and and he's like, if he was shooting from inside that room would be lighting up like a Christmas tree, man. The thing would just be flashing like crazy. It looked like there was a smoke alarm going off in that room, and there wasn't in that video. So that's kind of what he's describing here.
very, very creative how this person did this. And then I looked at the name of the account. I go back going like, oh, this is some heavy duty trolling, man.
The name of the account was, I believe it's Mandalay Bay 32-135. I believe it's the name of the account that put that video up. That's right. I never even put the video. I never even put the video itself up. The actual, I put it up in private. Let me do that right now. I'm gonna do this. No, I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. Give me a sec, because I gotta find it in my history. God, I'm all screwed up, dude. I just woke up, guys. Like, I work nights, so I just woke up. So that's why I'm a little screwball right now. I am not all with it right now. But let me find the video itself, if I can. If I can. I watch a lot of shit on here. Okay. All right. So when I did this live stream the other day, and I showed this video, I didn't show like the video itself. I didn't show anybody how to get to it or anything like that. The reason I didn't do that is because 10 sent it to me, and he had a comment under it, and I was like, well, if I show this video, it's gonna out him. And I was like, and I'm, you know, since he was kind enough to send this to me, I was like, I'm not going to do that to him. So I didn't show anything but this. Now, this is the video here that he's talking about. Oh man, you're gonna walk away from the screen right now as I'm showing this damn video? What? All right, so this is the video. This is the account. Let me get a little bigger here. The MGM. Okay, I was wrong. I thought it was Mandalay Bay. The MGM 32135. Dude, come on. Replay that shit. I didn't put it on. Anyway, so this is the video he's talking about. This is 10 found this video, sent it to me. And again, he did have a comment under it. So until he told me that that he was willing to, you know, come out, you know, and you know, wanted me to say that he was, you know, still around and all that sort of stuff. I wasn't going to say anything. So when I played this the other day, all I did was I put it on full screen. I will put the link to this in the comments also, or in the chat here. But I didn't want to give too much information on this. The day that he, the day that I did the live stream on this, and basically I was just doing the live stream so that I could kind of get ahead of this and explain what I thought this was, because this, you know, honestly, I don't think this is the right room. I don't think this is the right floor, although. Looking at it from this angle, I mean, this light does get thinner, but still that would be the wrong floor, because where these lights kind of thin out, there would be 6 down, and it would be the 7th floor from that, I think, if I remember right. I don't know. It's the wrong floor. There's just something. See where the muzzle flash comes from, though? That's where I have a problem. I don't understand what that muzzle flash would be, because I'll show you the original video here in a minute, because I do have it in my saved. Just finding the moment that this happens is a pain in the ass. Now I don't want to break this down again. I did that in another video. But here, I'm going to turn this off for a minute because, well, I don't want you seeing all the stupid shit that I watch. Let's just put it that way. This ain't Pornhub, but still, I don't want you guys seeing what I'm looking at here. Let's see. So I got to go to I got to go back. I got to go to my history, because I watch a lot of dumb shit on here. Okay, so supposedly, and this is not the actual video this dude was using to find this, but it's the same time frame, it's the same camera. Let's see, share screen. I just think that LVSA put another version of this up that was cut down a little bit. And so here we can see, this is it. This is, I think, where this video came from. I'll link this too if you want to look at it. Let's paste this in there. And so I believe this is the video it came from. At least this is the complete video it came from. There is a shorter version, I believe, of this video. So this video starts at 7 o'clock. So exactly 3 hours in, we would be looking at the shooting time, right? So we got a little bit going on here. So it's about 3 hours in. His camera's kind of panning around, watching the cops. Cops are obviously ducking behind cars, stuff like that. It's the shooting. It's happening in real time. This is 3 minutes 11 seconds in, which means this is what time would this be? Oh my god, my brain is fried. So 9. So yeah, timing doesn't add up, right? Timing doesn't add up. No, 10. So it's 10:11. 10 minutes and 11 seconds, or 10:11 at night. Oh my god, I can't think straight. I can't. So okay, so see, that's why you have this weird reflection from the top on the video that we were just watching. So now he's panning over to the Mandalay Bay. Now, what floor do you think these are? What floor do you think that cuts off at? I mean, I would say in the 20s somewhere. I don't think this is showing the 32nd floor at all, to be honest. There's a strobe light. I don't remember what floor that, because I know there's a strobe light on the 5th floor, but that is not the 5th floor. So I think the 5th floor might be either this light or the light below it. I'm not sure. And so, come on. There you go. There it was. Person moving around in this little room right here. And right there. Okay, you can see my cursor. You can see my cursor. A dude moving around that room right there. And I believe this is the exact video that was taken from. Okay, so he's walking around. This person must have zoomed that shit in. I don't understand where he's getting the smoke trail from on that video, because that don't seem right. All right, he's looking at the strobe, wondering what the fuck that is. And let's see, what are we at? We're at 12, so the shooting's still happening right now, real time. Shooting's still happening. It's still happening. But this is it. Like, this person, I don't think zooms in on that room at all. And so this person, whoever made that video, must have zoomed this in onto this section right here, which is, again, this is not, obviously, this is not the right floor. I mean, he did not shoot from like the 7th floor or whatever. This did not happen. Whatever. 10 does make a good point where he says, the cops said they saw somebody up there shooting. It's possible this is what they saw. That they saw this dude sitting at the window, like looking out. It is possible, dude. It's totally possible those cops, but no, they did, I think, say it's like the 40th floor or something. So it would have been a lot higher. So I guess that doesn't really pan out. But yeah, I mean, you'll see a guy kind of walking in front of this window right here. We're still in the timing of the shooting. It's still happening. But I think that probably was the dude. But see, now you can see, like, you can understand where the lighting is coming from. The weird lighting on the top of that other video. It's come from this. This is the video. I'm convinced of that. And it's the wrong floor. It's completely the wrong floor. So unless we want to say that somehow there was somebody shooting out of the 7th floor of the Mandalay Bay, yeah, I'm not buying this as being part of that. I don't even know, because we can't see from here, but I don't even know how the line of sight would work with this window. I just don't know. It might have one, might not. I don't know. There's helicopters in the background. Yes. Come on, dude. Yeah, not buying that. But yeah, this is the window right there. Oh, and again, I don't think he's gonna zoom in. So we got another minute until the shooting is done. This guy's checking out this strobe, thinking thinking that strobe might be the shooting. That might be the muzzle flash. So, obviously that's totally in the wrong part of the building. That would be room, what, like 105 or something like that? Or no, that's on the wrong side. It's 106 or something like that. 108? See, that'd be well, that'd probably be 100, 102, 104, 106, maybe 108. Yeah, maybe 108. I don't know what floor because I can't tell from this. I could probably figure it out, but I'm not going to go through all that. That's way too much drama for me today. My brain is not functioning on that level right now. So we should be coming to the end of the shooting here. Yeah, we are coming to the end of the shooting. I think this dude thinks that might be where the shooting's coming from. And that's why whoever's controlling this camera is looking at that spot right there. I think that's what's happening, to be honest with you. But anyway, this is the video. I believe this is the video it came from. It is what it is. Let me get off of this. Let me get back to 10, man. Back to 10. Because I think 10 put out a good video, man. I think this was a very good video, man. He just kind of breaks down what he thinks. And again, I kind of agree with a lot of what he's got to say.
I left a comment saying, I don't remember exactly.
Again, he's talking about that original video, the one where it zoomed in and all that sort of stuff. He found that. And he's explaining why he found it and all that sort of stuff. In the 10 fashion that we're used to.
What my first words were, is this real? And then period, it looks AI. Yeah, that's what I said. I said, is this real? I hit the period. And then I said, looks like AI, period. And then I wrote, Windows incorrect. Meaning the curtains. I should.
So he made a comment on the video is what he's explaining. And since he made that comment, that's why when I did that video the other day showing this video that he sent me, I didn't show the entire video. I didn't put a link. I didn't put any of that. I only sent the link to one person. And I didn't do any of that because he had a comment under it and I didn't want to out his channel, man. I didn't want people over there trolling him. So unless he told me it was okay, I wasn't going to do it. In this video, he does tell everyone to share this video. So I did. I did and I am.
Said curtain openings are incorrect. And I didn't run it through a filter. I didn't turn on my computer or anything like that. I rarely hit like button on any video I watch. I've had this account. You'll see.
It is kind of selfish, dude, because he's about to mention me. So I'm just like, yeah, dude. I always made it a point when someone mentioned me to watch their shit on my stream. And I'm going to do that again. Dude, look at those hands. Dude. Those hands look huge right there, man. What the damn?
See that you can look at my account here. I've had this account, I think, since 2019. I have, I think, 22. Well, you can't tell because they're all hidden, but I've got 22 liked videos. So I hit the like.
Those hands are infamous, dude. Watch so many videos with those hands in it in front of a television. Damn. The old days. Miss the old days.
Like video, I'm going like, oh, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this. I'd like to share it. And so I hit it and I hit the like button on it. Crossed my fingers. I said, oh shit, I don't know if I can come back to this. So I took a screenshot of the screen there. And then I went into my liked folder and I said, okay, I saved it. And then I thought about it. I said, there's only one person I'd really like to send this to.
Here we go.
Because he,
I'm going to add this into my intro. Yes, I'm going to add this. Yeah, this is going to be part of the intro. Yes, sir.
He didn't do it for views. He went through to create a record like Las Vegas Shooting Archive did with the videos and the body cam release, which was a hell of a job that young man did. He wanted to create a record of the police reports and stuff like that, and that was Pointed Stick. So I copied the link. I sent it to Pointed Stick. And I said, hey, I think I said something like, you might find this interesting. And
man, I got to work on my intro now. I love it. Love it.
I wasn't subscribed. I've just haven't subscribed to anybody from those the so-called good old days. I wasn't subscribed to them, so I took the video that I had put my message on. I had put that one into my like folder. Went back, made sure that it was in my like folder correctly. I had to do a YouTube search on Point and Stick just to pull your channel up, brother. No shit. And but I sent it to you, and the next day he had made a video on it, a good video, and he has some skills that can do photo overlay. So Point and Stick.
Man, it was MS Paint, bro. MS Paint, brother. I'm not that skilled. Just thank you, but I'm not.
Stick channel. He has go to his live section. I wish you would have put that into your video section because
Bro, I am so lame. I don't even know how to put that in my video section. I do these lives, and wherever they land, they land. That's kind of it.
not everybody knows when they go to your channel, oh, go to the live stream, but that's what you did. You did a live stream on it. And so anyway.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened to 10 for a long time, dude. I mean, look, I may not agree with his politics and all this sort of stuff. I mean, I think I do more than I don't, but hey man, he was entertaining. He was always entertaining to me. He really was. Not gonna lie, dude. Even when I was kind of, angry because he was back in Hoover and stuff like that, I always found his channel entertaining. I found a lot of channels entertaining that I didn't necessarily agree with, man, to be honest with you.
I found it.
And yeah, it's been 10 years. That's insane, dude. That's absolutely insane.
I found your reply to it, and you didn't. You were very respectful to me, and I appreciate that. I did some channel cleanup here, renamed it to Common Sense because I knew I wanted to make a video. After a conversation with Point and Stick, he told me that he's part of a group that's doing some research, some new names, new faces, and good people. If that's even possible with conspiracy theory crowds. But
yeah, they're all right, man. They're all right. It's water under the bridge, bro. It's 10 years, it's all good. Although I don't like that mainstream guy that's doing all this stuff. I'm not a big fan of him. The dime store Fonzies of the world, nah, dude, I'm not good with that.
I thought to myself, I go through that list, and like I said, I got down 100 to 150, 120 to 150 videos, just rolling with my thumb and looking at this, and clicked on a few of them, watched them for 5 seconds, turned it off, and knew it was garbage. I thought,
And I would be honest, man, one of the things that's really nice with all the bullshit that I deal with online these days, just I guess trolling people and fucking with people. It's nice to see somebody without purple hair and a fucking nose ring. It's really fucking nice, dude. It's nice to see a normal fucking person as normal. I mean, it's weird that we live in a world where 10 is the most normal person I fucking know at this point online, but fuck me, man. After dealing with all the fucking purple haired nose ring motherfuckers out there, it's nice to see somebody that's not that.
Over these years, I've really put together some stuff in my head that I never videoed, and I never told anyone about.
That's why I don't want to show like search histories and stuff like that, because I deal with a lot of the punk crowd, right? The punk rock crowd that wants to say that, oh, punk is left wing and all this sort of bullshit. Fuck you. Fuck all that. Punk is not left wing. That's bullshit. So I deal with a lot of that, dude. I spend all my time every day pretty much arguing with motherfuckers with purple haired fucking nose rings telling me that it's not punk unless you're fucking some left wing communist piece of shit. And no, it's not.
That really tie this together as far as what Paddock did, and how serious this was, and how much he planned it. And I come up with a list. I'm going to try just to go through it quick, and I've got a list of.
Yeah, it's not gonna be quick because it's gonna be an hour and a half. But but it's all good, bro. Like this kept me going at work last night, man. I had a rough night at work, dude, and I got this video kept me going. But yeah, that's kind of what I do these days, man. I just fuck with people in the whole punk rock thing, dude. And yeah, I get tired of dealing with the purple hair nose ring crowd, man. It sucks. My personal politics, I fucking hate communism. I think communism is fucking stupid. I think anybody that believes in that shit is fucking stupid. And it's gotten to the point where, you know, people aren't even calling themselves liberals anymore. Now they're all calling themselves leftists because they think that's actually better than being a liberal, because they got tired of being lumped in with the liberal crowd. So they get pissed off. And so now they just call themselves leftists. And it's just, dude, I'm tired of it, dude. I am so tired of this fucking bullshit.
9 things. I could make 9 videos right now. I'm not trying to torture myself. I'm not trying to torture myself for doing this. Okay. Because I'm not back into this community as far as research, and I'm not researching this crime. To me, I have all my answers. I have them all.
Come on. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You do a search every year or so for Vegas videos. You are. Come on. You're back. You're back.
To satisfy myself. Okay. But I do wish the madness on some of this shit would stop. Because there's some people that knows of the Sphinx outside.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about
the police report releases.
Again, you guys could watch this video incomplete. I just wanted to skip through a few things because he has some really good shit in here. I didn't put down timestamps because I wasn't ready to do this video, but he did say he wanted to share it out. So I'm like, share, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do something on it.
Las Vegas shooting archive.
And he mentioned pointed stick. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there.
And his crew that he was working with did one hell of a job going and picking those up. They made them public on YouTube. Everybody was able to dissect them, and we learned a lot more.
Shout out to Elvis Say there.
Fifth thing, number 5 is the August 2018 final report. It had more photos. It had different photos.
So like I say, he's going to run down a lot of this stuff. Let's skip forward a little bit, see what we end up in.
I found a person in, I believe it was a Jason Hartman video. It's a famous video shot from, I think it's a Jason Hartman video. It's a famous video shot from the restaurant up at the top of Mandalay Bay.
Come on. I mean, you know, and I'm not doing this because it's, you know, I don't like what he's saying. I'm doing this because I just want to kind of skip through this and get through some of it. I'm trying to get to certain parts, man, because he starts talking about things that I'm just like, wow, that I never really thought about things that way.
That window. And it's not 130. It doesn't look like it's 130. What do you call it? 135, room 135, which is the main window that Paddock shot out of. It doesn't look like that at all. It looks to me, it looks further over. And
I think he's still talking about that video. But it does look like 135
could be
to me. It just looks like
134 broken at the same time, or broken right after it. Someone, you know, or maybe they broke them both and they're coming down. So I was thinking, and the way room 134 was set up, and now I know why room 34 was set up this way.
I don't know.
The bed was made to look like 2 people had slept in it. There's a pair of shoes there that definitely don't fit Stephen Craig Paddock in the room 134. There's laundry in the bathroom. This is the small connecting room to the big main suite. So you have clothing in Paddock's, dirty clothing in Paddock's main suite, and you have dirty clothing in a small suite. 2 people. So my focus was on, was there a person in the second room? So that was my focus. Very honest search.
Now, I was going to say, Hunter always felt that there was a second person. I was going to say that, you know. I disagree with that. I always did. But, you know, he was pretty adamant about that. And I'll say this, man. I think Hunter was smarter than I was. But there was no proof. Like, that's the issue we have.
Not trying to be conspiratorial. I mean, you got shoes, dirty clothes. You got a bed in it, folks, that clearly looks like 2 people have been in that bed. And there's a food cart, dirty food in it. Cameras in there. Everything pointed towards a second person in that room. Come to find out, I was wrong, and I know why. There wasn't a second person in that room. It's Paddock the whole time. And not going to go and continue to look for a second shooter inside that room because I have my answer. A lot came to me as these years have gone by. I understand what Paddock did. A lot of y'all don't.
See, you're still thinking about it, man. Don't give me this. I don't research. You're still thinking about it. Everyone still thinks about this thing.
So
We're too deep in
I
that
guess
well,
I'm all
man.
the way kind of past number 3, which was preliminary report. And mistakes were made. Joe Lombardo had got the LVMPD, which is the police department. Joe Lombardo was the chief. They got the timeline wrong, and it was legitimate how they got the timeline wrong.
The Campbell timeline.
Some of the computers at Mandalay Bay, the radio logs, they're tied into computers. So when they created the program, the time actually doesn't match properly. You can reset the time on these computers, and some of these timestamps on their systems didn't jive with one another. The login, the check-in at the hotel didn't really kind of match up with the radio log times, not exactly. And anyway, there was some discrepancies, and they had to clean that up.
He might be right about this. I don't know, but yeah, like I said, he does a pretty good job breaking down what he thinks about this whole thing, and whether you agree with it or not, this is what he thinks about the whole thing. And so, to me, that's old school. That's what we used to do. That's what everyone used to do. They used to just tell you what they thought about this whole thing.
And they did clean that up. And then there was Win Campos, the hero of the whole thing, I thought. He's the one that interrupted Paddock and kind of forced Paddock to go back and forth looking at cameras, which threw Paddock's plan all off. See,
that's an interesting take right there, man. I see, I don't know if I agree with that, but it's an interesting take, man. It makes me think, right? Was Paddock or was Campos in some weird way well, I don't want to say he's a hero, man. I hate saying Campos. I don't like Campos, but I think Campos a moron. But the fact that Campos distracted the shooter, does that make him a hero? I mean, he's kind of got a point there. As much as I hate to admit it, he kind of does. He almost does.
Still was successful, unfortunately, but it threw his plan off. All that was in the anomalies of the first one. And I just told you with the concert video show, they show echoes, supersonic snaps, bullets. They also show a lot of fragmented bullets that fragmented, which was, it goes right with the frangible ammunition that Stephen Craig.
So he's going to talk about frangible ammunition. Again, I don't know if everything he used was frangible. I don't know. Because he loaded a lot of regular ammunition into those guns. But he has a point, dude. When frangible ammunition hits something, it just shatters into fucking a million pieces. It's almost like practice ammo, as my understanding of it. I've talked to gun people about this, and it basically just shatters into pellets, man. And so it does make a little bit of sense why so many people were injured by bullet fragmentation. As far as I think 400 and something, 1,000 rounds fired, 400 and something people were damaged by bullets. Yeah, well, when one bullet turns into 50, I guess it kind of makes sense, man. But it's the problem I have with that is I have a lot of problems with that actually. But he's going to talk about the hallway a little bit. When he shoots through the door down the hallway, now where does that bullet impact? Where does it branch out? Like, where does it actually damage the bullet to the point where the bullet turns into, like I said, pieces and shatter? Is it when it hits that door and goes through the door? Because he will explain how it's like having a shotgun, and I see the point that he's making. I don't know though, man. Because in the report, the only real kind of ballistics that we have is in the hallway, and there are 30 30. I counted 33, but it's the way it's worded is really stupid. But 32 to 33 strikes in the hallway is what we have recorded in the that report. And so that tells me that those bullets remain somewhat intact. But then the chaotic nature of it, the way that it's worded, might have been because those bullets were fragmenting and they were having a hard time tracking it themselves because of that. So it's hard to say, man. That's a tough one.
Paddock used. There's a difference between hollow point and then there's another set of ammunition that's actually,
All right,
you know,
get
you got the
past the
strobe lights
ammunition.
of the helicopters flying around at the same time that gunfire's going off. Quite an anomaly.
I don't think it's an anomaly because he does what he's saying here is he says it's interesting, you know, because he started to talk about Hoover and how he was involved with Hoover in the, you know, for a short time. You know, he's saying it's kind of an anomaly that you had a bunch of helicopters flying around at the same time shooting was going on. Dude, helicopters, the problem with this and the problem I have with something like this is there's helicopters 24/7 in Vegas, just 24/7. As long as they got customers, they'll take you up, dude. They don't care. Maverick runs any time of the day, pretty much. I mean, I think they shut down at night, like late at night, but you can actually go on Maverick helicopters. You can book a tour right now of Las Vegas, and they'll have time frames all day and night. Does anyone think he may have shot through the curtains to hide the muzzle flash? He does. Okay, so 10 will go into that, and he will say that. I don't think, to be completely honest with you on that, I don't think he shot through the curtains to hide the muzzle flash. 10 will explain in this video that he believes that the original shots were through the glass, through the intact glass, that he shot through the glass so that the glass would spider web, because he explains how the outer glass is a lot thicker than the inner glass. The inner glass could have been hit with a hammer. It is his theory. The inner glass could have been hit with a hammer, and the outer glass could have been shot through to spider web it, and then, you know, possibly hit with the hammer to, you know, shatter out enough of the glass to fire out of it. As far as shooting through the curtains the whole time, I don't think that was possible. I don't think that was possible. He was saying that he thinks that basically the way this all went down, as far as Paddock goes, is that Paddock hit the inside glass with the hammer to get rid of it, and once he shattered that stuff down, he shot through the outer glass to the outside world. Cases than rounds. There are 6 more casings than rounds we can account for, and they likely fired very early. So, yeah, I don't know about that, man. I just I'm not awake enough for that kind of conversation. But basically he's saying that he thinks that Paddock had the curtains closed, shot through the outer pane to spiderweb the outer pane a little bit, and then came at it with, I think, a hammer to get rid of to break open enough so that he could shoot through. And then in terms of 134, it honestly makes sense. And this is where it's like a video like this makes me think, right? And that's why I really appreciate videos like this, because it does make me think, right? This is somebody else's brain working, and you know, he made me think about this, right? So if he's actually correct and that's the case, it makes 134 make a lot more sense. And the reason it makes 134 make a lot more sense is in the report we have when 2 of the shots are fired, I believe. If I remember right, I'm going off memory here, which my memory sucks. But in the final report, I believe we have when 2 shots are fired out of 134, but we don't have the rest. And I think it says undetermined or whatever when the rest of the shots were fired out of 134. Well, that does make sense, right? Because they don't know where those fuckers landed. They have no idea where they landed. And I personally think that one of them, I personally think they were aimed at the venue, because you know, we do see during one of those shots, we do see the the netting around the venue actually move, and a lot of people want to argue that's not what that was and all that sort of stuff. But I personally think it is. But he's shooting through the window. If he's actually shooting through the window, he could have been shooting blind, I guess. He should have been shooting through those curtains too. But if he's shooting through that window and he's shooting blind just to knock out the window, it doesn't matter where those bullets land. And maybe the FBI couldn't determine where those bullets were fired, where they landed, because they were just kind of shot randomly. They could have been shot into the air, for Christ's sake. I mean, he's just shooting out a window. 134 is a big room. 135 is a small. No, it's the opposite. 135 is a big room. 134 is a connected room. And but that would make sense, right? So he shot a bunch of rounds, supposedly at the fuel tanks. Well, what if only 2 of those rounds were actually at the fuel tank? He hit both times, and the rest of the rounds were just to get rid of that window. That makes sense to me. And that's something 10 made me think about here, which is why, again, I appreciate these videos.
I can see how that could be an issue to some people. I did do something before the preliminary report came out. I found an audio on a podcast where this people were in the
connection to Hoover here, which is fine. I'm not too worried about it, but he explains how him and Hoover kind of got in together. 10 found some podcasts, some girl saying that she got I believe the story is she got a phone call from somebody who was at the venue who was saying the helicopters are shooting at them, and he shared that with Hoover, and there was some thing about that. And I don't even remember that, to be honest with you. But, I think I was not really watching everybody's videos at that time frame.
Come on, man. Windows are broke. The broken windows are not. I'll just get into it real quick about the glass. These panes of glass, they did not have sensors on them. So scratch that crap theory off the list. I'm going to pause a second and give me a cough drop. Pause.
Thought you said you were going to torture yourself.
If I can remember how to freaking pause. There it is. Back from the pause.
Pause.
You got 2 layers of glass there. This is standard high-rise double layered tempered glass, 1/4 inch inside pane. It's 2 layers. 1 layer.
See, so yeah, he'll explain this now. I'm gonna play this because he'll break this down, and I think he does a pretty good job breaking this down. I really do. I don't know shit about glass, so.
Of the inner layer is tempered, which means it'll shatter into little bitty pieces, like the side window on your car. You break the side window on your car, it'll just break into thousands of little bitty pieces. So that's the inside. Then it's a 1/4 inch pane. Then you have a 1/2 inch airspace. And you have another 1/4 inch pane of glass. The outer layer, which is facing outside into the elements, is heat strengthened. And in this case, it has a baked on film. It has a baked on reflective film, gold. And in the case of the Mandalay Bay, it's gold, which is very, very expensive.
Oh, Matt, I haven't seen you in a while. Inside layer tempered, outside layer standard plate glass. Huh. Okay.
So the outer layer is heat strengthened, and it is very, very tough. It's not unbreakable by any means, but it's a 1/4 inch thick, and it's heat strengthened, and it doesn't crack into little bitty pieces. If you hit it hard enough, it'll create a long, long crack. It'll just make a long crack, or it might, depending on how hard you hit it, but it doesn't even hardly separate when it cracks. It just barely separates. The reason why is all the way around the window is an aluminum band that joins the two pieces of glass are joined all the way around with an aluminum band with silicone. There's black silicone they use that goes around it, and they create a vacuum. They have a tool that goes into that hot silicone. It'll pull a vacuum and suck all the natural air out, and they'll fill it with gas. Okay? They fill it with an inert gas. Sometimes argon, sometimes nitrogen. But it's an inert gas. And what this does is to prevent moisture. Okay? And it pulls the vacuum and puts the gas in. That way, when you're in your hotel room or you're in your office building and it's 0 degrees outside and it's 70 degrees inside, you don't have the glass sweat. Okay? And it also stabilizes the pressure inside that window pane on a 100-degree day. If nobody's in the building and it goes down below 0, okay? And the silicone that they use around it, it never really gets real hard. This is not a dry latex silicone. This is a very, very high quality.
Let's see. We saying it's mandatory when outside painted glass is color. The interior must be tempered due to heat being trapped between and will literally pop interior pane. If clear, over clear glass, it can be tempered or
silicone. And so you have this band going around the glass. Now, when you break this glass, because the inside layer turns into little bitty pieces and just falls. The outside layer, as I stated, it runs into long lines, okay? Then what happens is it finally reaches the band. It reaches the outer band, and the silicone is all the way around this thing, and the piece basically won't fall out. It's hard. You can crack and make a hole in it, as Paddock did, and most of the glass will not fall out. Okay? That's why he had a hammer sitting there to knock out some more glass, because this guy, he did his research. People say he didn't do his research. I'm telling you, he did his research. He knew what the fuck he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He did his research. And how do you research it? Simple. YouTube, man. Just get on freaking YouTube. You don't have to sign into an account. Get in as a guest. Go to your search. You're anonymous. You're anonymous. Dude did all his research anonymously. I know he did it. Everything comes together in my mind when I tell you this, okay? All right, so that's why I posted on this video. You're going to see a picture the next morning of what the hole looked like, and a picture of the night when a helicopter went by with the FLIR camera.
Let's see. Center plate glass. The band is called spacer and sealed with butyl. Okay.
Law enforcement went by with a night vision. It's not exactly night vision. It's its own technology called FLIR. It's made in Oregon. FLIR. And they took pictures, and they got a hell of a good shot of those windows. The hole in the window is much smaller than the hole the next morning. Now go back to the police reports. In the middle of the freaking night, I got 2 people standing down there by the valet.
Now, I don't know if I agree with this whole thread of conversation, but he could be right. He could be right. I could be wrong on this. I'm not gonna die on this hill, but yeah, he's just gonna say that that later that night, I guess for safety reasons, they started breaking out some of the glass. I don't know if that's true. To be honest with you, I think they would have broken out the entirety of the glass. He's saying after they took their pictures and did, whatever investigation needed to be done at that point. I don't know if I agree with that, but it is possible. They saw some shards that were about to fall, and they're like, "Hey, man, we might as well just break this out, so there's no passersby in the morning." But you still had cops down there, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. It's an interesting decision someone would have made, but regardless, doesn't matter.
That are talking, and I'll be damned. Guess what? You hear glass falling in the middle of the night.
All right, let me
rewind it
bit.
3 or 4 times. If you're really hard-headed, run it 10. 10, 10, 10. You're going to hear the
Yeah.
first shot, and then you're going to hear a pause before the rest of the shots. Okay. Next thing I want you to do is, where did these shots land? Well, I'll be damned. Where did they land? They were all scattered out. These first 6 shots were all scattered out. What was he doing?
Now, I don't think 10, was around when all this information came out. And I know I never argued this with him, but I argued with everybody over this. The original shots first, I think it was 9. I think it was 9 shots. He says 6 in this because the original ideology was that it was 7. Everybody was arguing it was 7. It was actually more than 7. I think it was 9, according to the police. Maybe it's FBI. Who knows where that information actually came from? But the reason we know that is because they did a seminar, and I think it was like some anti-terrorism seminar or some bullshit like that. And I think it was the police. I don't think it was the fire department that seminar that came up with it. I don't know though. It's on LVSH channel, and it was a long time ago we dealt with this. But I was always arguing with everybody that there were more than just the shots everybody thought in those initial shots, the original shots. There was more than just what people thought there were, because people were counting the sonic cracks. And as they're counting sonic cracks, yeah, there's only like 7 of them. Depends on which video you watch, because of one of the videos you hear like 5, and then the other one you hear like 4. Some of them overlap. You had to figure out which ones overlapped and all that sort of stuff. But you couldn't hear all the shots from one camera angle to the other, which we only have 2 camera angles from that. We have the VIP, and then we have the what I always called the Tall Ace of Spades video. I don't remember what it's called now. People know his name. I don't use his name. I just say Tall Ace of Spades video, because it's easy to remember. And but we only have those 2 angles, right? So as you're listening to those shots, and I've listened to them so many damn times, dude, over and over and over and over and over again. As you're listening to those shots, you listen from the VIP section, then you listen and you try to line them up, and you realize they're kind of, some you're hearing from the VIP section, some you're hearing from the Tall Ace Spades video. They don't always match up. Some are, overlapping. Some you can't hear from one, but you can hear from the other. It was just a pain in the ass to deal with. But I don't remember which, because there were like 3 kind of small rounds of shots separated by maybe a half second within those shots. And one of those little, I guess, mini rounds of shots, you hear muzzle blast of 3 muzzle blasts or something of that nature, and you only hear 1 sonic crack. And everybody was counting that as 1 shot. And I'm like, no. And we argued it and argued and argued. And everyone disagreed with me until something came out. And I think, like I said, I think it was some police seminar they were doing or something like that, where they admitted there were like 9 shots or something like that. I think it was 9. I'm pretty sure it was 9. But again, this is information 10 probably doesn't have, because he kind of got out of this before all that that was generated.
He was breaking the glass.
But I agree with him. He's got a point here. He's got a philosophy, a theory, or whatever you call it, that makes a little bit of sense, right? If if Paddock was shooting through the glass to break the window, then those bullets could have landed anywhere, dude. Anywhere. Just anywhere. And so yeah, they're not going to know how many bullets were fired, because they're not going to know where the hell they landed. They're not going to have a clue what went down there. Just bullets got fired out of a window into space. Who knows?
He was shooting a pattern. This man was smart. Stephen Craig Paddock was smart, did his research. He understood what that heat strengthened glass was. He understood.
Oh, Health Ranger? Health Ranger was weird, man. That was the early days. The problem with Health Ranger was he never showed, and we could probably find it, all this time's gone by, dude. Somebody could have figured it out, but he never showed where he was getting his analysis from, like what video he was sourcing to do that. And so the problem he had was exactly that. Everyone's like, well, we don't even know what video you're using. You're trying to say that, I think he had a good system. I think what he did was very intelligent. I just don't think he was right, which I think a lot of people think he was wrong. But what Health Ranger did, which was really intelligent, is he took out the sound of the muzzle blast. He separated it from the sonic cracks. And I thought that was very, very good. Health Ranger assumed the recording person was very close to the bullet path. Otherwise, his math is foobar. Yeah. I can see that. That's a little beyond my scope here.
Dude had a shatter the middle. He closed the curtain. He shot the very first shot, probably just straight out. Just straight out. Boom. Didn't care where it was. That takes out the inner layer of glass. The inner layer shatters into little bitty pieces.
Yeah.
So what's he left with?
I think it's the outer layer.
What's he left with? Take the hammer, just barely touch the window. Boom. Barely touch it. All that shit falls to the ground.
I see what you're saying.
You
Okay.
see it in the photographs. It's all piled up. It doesn't jump and fly all over the room like people think because of this magical gas that's under this magical pressure. It ain't much pressure in that glass, man. It's a vacuum and barely.
God, I even got that backwards. So what he's saying, which is interesting. I mean, fuck, it actually kind of makes sense, which is scary because it does kind of throw everything that I just said out the window. But he's saying that he shot the inner layer of glass so that he would make he'd basically break up the inner layer of glass, and all he had to do was tap with the hammer real quick, and it would basically shatter that entire layer down into pieces on the ground. Yeah. I guess that's possible. I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking he shot out the outer layer just because it was tougher to get through. But yeah, I guess it's possible. Would have went through both layers, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's possible.
A little bit of glass, barely a little bit of nothing. I don't even want to go there. So the inner layer shatters on the first shot. There's a pause. Pause. You remember that famous saying? He walks up to the curtain's closed.
Love you, man.
Boom. Pulls back the curtain, hits it a little bit here and there. There's only one hole in the glass. And there's a pause between the next shots. The reason why is he's clearing out a little bit. He's clearing out some of that tempered glass that might still be hanging around. Most of it has already fell. So now he's got the outside layer. He's got one hole in it. He looks, closes the curtain, backs up, boom, 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 boom. Fires 5 more shots in a pattern. You don't believe me? Look at the glass. I'm posting the image for you. Okay? Think.
Now, honestly, I don't really agree with this, but hey, man, I love the fact that he's rolling through this with his theory and just throwing it out there. Yeah, this is the way we used to do it, man, back in the old days. So I appreciate it.
Then, what does he got to do? He's got to make an opening. There's 2 ways to make an opening. Pull back the curtain a little bit. Either use the butt of the rifle. I'm not sure if he did that or not. Okay? Because of the bump stock. Because the bump stock goes back and forth.
Now I did a little bit of arguing with him on this. You can lock a bump stock, I believe. I believe you can lock it. I'm pretty sure. I mean, the ones that I've watched online, you can lock them up. But the thing is, those bump stocks are like hard plastic. So I don't even know how much. I think it would take a lot of force to use a hard piece of plastic to break a thick piece of glass like that, even if it's spiderwebbed and shattered. I don't know.
More logically, he just grabbed the hammer and just started tapping. Bang, 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 bang.
And that's where I agree with him completely.
Did some tapping around it. Trying to make as least noise as he can. So he takes the frickin' hammer and he wraps tape around it, thinking, well, it'll be a little quieter. It won't, it'll dull the echo. Even if it dulls at 3, 4, 5 decibels, 10 decibels, even 5 decibels, anything can make a difference for them. So that's why you got the tape wrapped around the end of the hammer to try to think that maybe it'll lower the decibels when I try to knock out some of this heat strengthened glass. Okay. I am almost positive he did not have the hole he needed on that first attempt. He did the first 6 shots, and they're scattered around the concert. One of them,
Not all insulated units are filled with gas. I would think in Vegas you would have that though, right? Because their temperatures out there are so dramatic, right? It's 115 degrees one day and it's like, 40 degrees the next. I would think that they would probably be in that situation. And the interior of the hotel is probably always at around 70, low 70s.
went in front of the stage, which was probably the first damn shot. And then it's a lower, when you listen to the audio, you don't hear the first shot hardly. As I'm telling you, you don't hear it near as loud as the others. The reason why is it was a double pane piece of glass. Now it's a single pane piece of glass. It's losing integrity. More sound is echoing through. And these guns are fucking loud. That's why you hear them a quarter mile away at the concert. They are loud. And he's up in the air and it's in a bowl. You got all these buildings wrapped around, all the echoing, and it's holding the sound in. I mean, there's science behind all this crap, guys.
Science.
So that's how he knocked the glass out. Probably wasn't finished. The hole probably, as he's firing in a circular motion, he's getting a little more glass, a little more glass, a little more glass at a time. Okay. A little more is falling, because these crack lines, every time he hits it with a bullet, it gets a little bit different crack line, and some of the crack lines will join, and then a bullet will strike it. And so what's probably started off as a hole about that big is now a hole about that big, by that big. Listen, I'm telling y'all, go back and look at these pictures I'm posting. Okay. It's that simple. The hole was not that big the next, it wasn't full size the next morning. I mean, not when
My best estimate is the hole was about 3.5 feet tall and 135 at the on the edges. The center there went up, and the crack in the center went up in like a pyramid shape that was it seemed like it went up to about 4.5 feet, something like that. But it looked like he only broke out like about 3 feet at the bottom, 3.5 feet, something like that.
he did the shooting, it wasn't near as big. And I'm telling you, it just got bigger as he was firing 1,000 rounds out that fucking window. All right. So, was the curtain open or closed? Curtain was closed. Most of the gunfiring that he did.
See, this is interesting. Somebody just asked about this. Here's Ten's answer to what you were asking.
The curtain was closed. Once he definitely opened the curtain and he looked down, and he's looking down at the police cars and the police response down below him. One of the officers says he looked up. One of the officers is in the police reports. He looked up. He says, "Man, I see the dude standing at the window with a rifle in his hand." So he had pulled the curtains back. Now, how do I know that he shot through the curtains? Well, number one, there's no reflection. You don't see these reflections outside. You don't see them. Okay. The curtains are closed in the room. There's also other reasons why you don't see the muzzle flashes so much as you would think that you would see it. But if you look at the curtains, he's blasting through the curtains, man. He's got the curtains closed and he's just blasting through the curtains. All right. Now, what evidence do I have to say that? Well, that's pretty obvious. That's really obvious. Look at the fucking curtain. I'm posting a picture of it. And that's not even a good picture. That's just the shit that they gave us. You can imagine what it really looked like. Those curtains, by code, by national code, those are fire retardant curtains. I am positive Paddock did his homework on this, on whether or not he could fire.
Now, there was definitely some damage to the curtains. You can see that in the final report. I don't know if I agree with the fact that he fired all the shells out through the curtains. It's possible he fired some. I don't know. Again, I don't know if I agree that he fired all of them. I think it's hard to say because, you got trajectories and stuff like that. And, he would have been firing at a downward angle Um, you know, and most of the marks on the curtains are, I don't know, about maybe about where the broken glass is, which is why it's making me think about all this. Um, you know, if I remember right, in the final report, I think the damage to the curtain was right about like a, you know, where the glass was. So 3.5, 4 feet, something like that. But again, it's trajectories, it's angles, it's all that sort of stuff. The problem is I have with this train of thought is, and my train of thought on this, you know, the way that I can see this playing out, and the way, you know, I could see it happening is, you know, all Paddock had to do realistically is break out enough of that window to where his view line from a certain point standing in that room would have lined up perfectly with the venue, right? And so, you know, you don't need that much of that window broken out. You need, you know, a couple feet of that window broken out, most likely. I don't know, because again, I'm not in that room. But, you know, if you got a couple feet of that window broken out, you're standing in the same spot. And as you're looking out that window, you're looking directly on the crowd. And that's all you see out that little sliver of window that you've broken out. You know, every shell that goes out that window that lands, you know, in that little space that's 5 feet in front of you, because you're aiming 5 feet in front of you instead of aiming, you know, 400 yards or whatever the hell it was, 400 feet. Um, all you got to do is aim 5 feet in front of you. And once you, every round that goes through that area, you know, of that window, is going to land down there somewhere in that crowd. The problem you have with having the curtains closed on something like that is that that becomes problematic, because now you're blind. You're not aiming at all. You know. Now there was a piece of tape on the curtain, so you know that's where things get a little screwball, because like I said, you got to deal with trajectories and stuff like that. But I believe there was a piece of tape on that curtain, which, you know, yeah, you could argue that, okay, you know, he lined that piece, and that's kind of crazy if he actually did this, but you line that piece of tape up with that point in the window where you have to aim out that window, you know, at that trajectory, and again, you're kind of having the same result. It's just, it's weird to me that you would fire blind like that. And I would think you would have, that window would be shredded, you know, and I'm not talking about like just, you know, hot rounds going through it. I'm talking about like shredded, because, you know, you have 1,000 rounds going through a curtain. I would think there'd be a lot more damage than what we see. The original shots, I'll agree. I think that the original shots, it's very possible he shot right through that curtain on those original shots. That way, he didn't have glass blowing back at him or anything like that. It wasn't making as much of a mess as it would have if the curtain was completely open. You know, I agree with that. I think that's a good theory. But as far as like the entirety of the event, I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that. But again, you know, this is Ten's theory. I'm just going through it.
Through the curtains and just make a pattern. Just, I mean, once you know what the little area is, just start blasting. You got 10,000 people down there to hit, and they're all running like ants. Just start shooting the shit up. Okay. Just shoot all you want. And that's what he was doing. The curtains were closed. So the curtain inside the room, major damage, major, folks. To get that much damage, you just have to keep firing, and you have to have that muzzle up close, because those are fire retardant, heavy curtains.
Now, I don't know if there's major damage on. I mean, there was damage to him, obviously. I don't know about major damage. You know, and it's possible. You know, there could be an FBI report, or, you know, if they ever deliver the damn crime scene photos that I FOIA'd 3 years ago, if that ever comes out, you know, then yeah, we may see that he's absolutely right about this. But, you know, as of now, I don't know.
If you know anything about welding, and you ever been in a chemical plant or refinery, if you're in a gas unit in a refinery and you need to do some welding, they're not going to shut down They're not going to shut down the refinery so you can go make that weld. You know what they're going to do? They're going to build a box. The scaffold guys will build a scaffold. They'll build a firebox of plywood. Then they'll line it. Then he fires a few shots to loosen up the glass. Unfortunately, Melissa Ramirez, and that's what's so heartbreaking.
Okay, man, you know, I have a lot of issues with that Melissa Ramirez story, and yeah, I don't know about this. In fact, I'm probably gonna skip over this. He's gonna say that he thinks Melissa Ramirez was shot with the .308 from at the fuel tanks, and it was an errant round that hit her. I don't know about that. I don't honestly. I don't know. You know, that there's a lot of trust me, bro, evidence behind that. I don't know if it's accurate or not. I don't know. I have a lot of issues with the Melissa Ramirez story. I think she died. I'm not gonna fucking play that fucking game. But the manner in which she died, I don't think I agree with, or at least the commonly accepted, you know, idea behind that. I don't know if I agree with it.
Very, very big at first. I really don't. I think he just wanted a big enough hole where he could see through and get a rifle to get that fuel tank. But he had a bigger hole, and there's two ways to do it:
man.
a hammer or the butt of the rifle. I'll go back to what I just told you about in 135. We assume that because they found the hammer next to him dead over in room 135 near the window, we assume that that's where the hammer was during the shooting. I want you guys just to open your mind up a little bit, and he's
got a good point here. Those are not crime scene photos that are in that final report. I think that's a huge problem, is that those are not actually crime scene photos. We don't see the markers next to him. I think he even mentions this. We don't see the markers next to him or anything like that. I mean, we don't know how legitimate those photos are as far as how the room was set up when this all went down. I don't think we're going to see the hammer. I don't think anyone's going to be able to find the hammer in any of the footage that we have inside that room of the breach. So that's problematic as far as the hammer goes. I still hold to the idea that I think what he did was he had the hammer originally in 135, used it to break the window, took it over to 134, broke out, helped break out that window, whatever manner you want to say he did it. Whether you want to say he shot out the window first or not, that's whatever, up to speculation. It's possible that he's right about all this. It makes sense. But I think he brought the hammer over into 134, and then I think he brought the hammer with him back into 135. I think at that point you start to have police gathering down at the bottom on the street. In order to hit the police, that's a whole different angle. I mean, not completely, but it's a little bit of a different angle you're going to have than shooting at the concert, right? So if we're running off the ideology that which is basically just my ideology, but if I'm running off of this idea that, and this is why I came up with this in the first place, that he broke out enough of the window so that he could see the venue and he could shoot directly at the venue. Once it gets to the point where you have police on the street right below you, that's a different trajectory altogether, right? So now you're going to have more of that window broken out in order to fire upon them, if that's what you're going to do, which we know he did. So I think that's possibly what was going on with that hammer, and that's why we ended up with that hammer in 135 after all was said and done. He may not even have used the hammer the second time in 135, but he may have thought about it and known that he was going to need to bring that back. I mean, is what it is.
Believe me on this. And if you don't believe me, you could ask, I'm not sure if Point and Stick knows this.
Uh-oh.
Because that wasn't his real angle of focus. But I know, well, who would know this? Well, LVSA. He would know this. Greg Og would know this.
Shout out.
A lot of people would know this. during the middle of the night, the police department, there's video, there's 2 cops down there on the ground at the bottom of the hotel over by the valet, and they're knocking out glass. You can hear glass falling in the middle of the night. Now, John Hoover, he's using that, saying that the windows were never broke. They broke them out in the middle of the night. That's not what they did. They had the loose pieces that were going to fall.
I don't buy that either.
Over the next day, 2 days, and whatever, they knocked them out. But all this, they already had the helicopter come by. They already had photographs. They already got it all documented. It's the middle of the night. They're doing it. Also, the guy that was below the room 134, which was the fuel tank room, the guy below the fuel tank room was from Kansas City. He was there doing some work, and he said they were moving shit around in that room all night. He said, he could hear, tables and chairs, and they were setting up stuff. He could hear activity above his head all night.
Now, I don't know about that. Like, he's probably going off of one of the PDFs, for that probably a PDF that I haven't read because I don't remember reading that. But I don't doubt it. I don't doubt there's all kinds of activity in that room all night long, even though they sealed the room off, they said. But we do have statements of the cops saying that they actually went back into the room. So, I think there was foot traffic in that room all night long.
And, they're in there working, they're in there doing their investigation. So they were moving things around. Just because you don't see a hammer in 134 doesn't mean that, okay?
And the other thing that adds credence to that is, if that's the case, and that's true, that this guy was hearing things going on inside that room. I don't know what time, but I believe they did evacuate that hotel eventually sometime throughout that night. I'd have to go back and look and see what that was, but I believe they did evacuate the hotel, and I know they didn't let people into the hotel at the one of my friends had a room there. The one guy that I know that was shot twice, he had a room there, and they locked him out of their own damn hotel. They were pissed, but he ended up in the hospital anyway. But his wife couldn't even go back to the room.
Also, I want to tell you this: 3 toolboxes are in the inventory. 3 toolboxes are in the inventory. There is in the preliminary report, the final report. In the final report, there's a photograph to the right of the bed in 134, to the right of the bed, facing the closet and bathroom side. There's a small toolbox on the ground. It's about this big. There's a toolbox on the ground. Now, in all fairness, it could be a law enforcement fingerprint kit box that they just set off in the corner, but it's really right next to the bed on the ground. The inventory report says 3 toolboxes were found in the room. Okay. In the Bitsko interview, I think it's Bitsko that said this, in the interview with 60 Minutes or CBS or someone like that, right after the crime, law enforcement, they got on TV and said tools were all over the fucking place. They said there were tools all over the fucking room, all over the place. They said tools. Okay.
Now, I don't remember that, but this isn't my wheelhouse, man. He's right. I didn't really deal with too much of this. But I remember them saying there were guns all over the place and ammunition all over the place, but and glass and stuff. But I don't remember the toolboxes or much about them.
And when I tell you this may also help you to understand there's probably more to this than you think as far as the tools. CNN reported in an article that also interviewed Congresswoman Titus. There's a congresswoman, United States congresswoman from Nevada. Her name is Titus. And they did an interview talking about and also the undersheriff. The undersheriff, which is the guy right below. I don't remember his name. Starts with an M, I believe.
Yep.
He's in the interview on CNN and along with Titus.
Now the sheriff.
Quote unquote. You can still Google and find this article. Multiple hammers were found in the rooms. Now, the way this community is, well, if we don't see them
now, that would be interesting if there was a hammer in 134 and a hammer in 135. That would be some interesting premeditation there. But and I wouldn't doubt if that was actually the case.
The photographs in the preliminary report We don't see him. We don't see him in the final report pictures. All we see is one hammer, and we see it over here. Nothing else exists. That's how close-minded. That's how close-minded many of you, and I'm pointing at you. I'm pointing at you because sometimes you need to be spanked to wake up. Okay. Why would
I love that he brought the spank thing back. Oh my God. Last time you said that, you got in a little bit of trouble, bro. Just saying. But it's all good. It's all good with me.
an undersheriff say multiple hammers were found in the rooms? Why would the police department in a 60 Minutes or CBS interview look at the camera and say tools were everywhere? Yes, tools were everywhere. Tools were everywhere. He had shit laid all over the place. He needed some tools to pull this off. He had workstations. He had towels set up over in this part of the hotel. He had of the room. He had towels.
I want him to get to the towels part, man, because this, man, that made me think, dude. Like, he had a very interesting take on the towels, and man, if it's the case, then this is insane. I mean, not insane in a 10 way. This is insane in a Paddock way.
Over here, he had towels here. Each one of these towels laid out on the ground was a signal that, and it was white, When he lays something on top of it, it'll reflect back to him the little bit of light that he'd have in the room. Stephen Craig Paddock was smart.
See, that's crazy. That is crazy. That is something I never thought about, or probably would have thought about until he just said this. Like, you imagine, you're in a dark room, which isn't that dark really. I mean, there's lights on, minimal, but there is some lighting in that room. But when you put a black gun on top of a white towel, I mean, there's a gun on top of that towel. That makes a lot of fucking sense. Makes a lot of fucking sense. Now, I don't think there were a lot of guns on top of the towels. There were on top of the bed in 134, but damn, like, that's actually an interesting concept.
Plan a fucking crime for a long time. He shot through those fucking curtains to avoid that muzzle flash. You understand?
Because, like I said, if that was the case, I don't think we would see. I mean, a lot of these, we don't know like how he laid this room out originally, and that's always been a problem. I've always said I think that chair next to that window probably had about 5 guns lined up on it, maybe more. And then those guns eventually ended up everywhere else as he was shooting. As he'd fire them out the window, and then he'd just dump them into the little bathtub thing or wherever he happened to be at the time, just laid him down. But we do have the AR-10s running around, and I don't think we have the AR-10s sitting on top of towels, which is problematic for this train of thought. But it is a fucking crazy ass train of thought. It's actually very interesting. We do have towels next to the door that are basically covering up the basically like looking like he was using them as kind of a rug to hide the cable. Not even to hide the cable, I think just so he knew that cable was there, so he didn't trip on it. For the camera that was attached to the door running to the computer. But I mean, what he's saying here, that's a very interesting ideology, very interesting theory.
Understand this. I hope you do. Now, regarding the fuel shot tank replacement, I'm at 59 minutes. This thing's still running. I've never done a video this long talking. I'm at 59 minutes. When I tell you this, these fuel tanks, I put some pictures on this video. The top of the fuel tanks got the pressure relief pop-off valves. Okay? All of these tanks have a pressure relief valve. You don't want an internal pressure building up in that fuel tank where that jet fuel is being stored. The fumes rise to the top. If the pressure gets...
Now, I've been in these tanks. Well, not these particular tanks, but I've been in tanks before. I used to be an industrial painter. I used to paint oil refineries, stuff like that. Basically, and I've mentioned this a million times, but if you haven't heard it, here we go. They have a floating ceiling. They have a floating ceiling. So the liquid stays at the bottom, and there's a floating ceiling that floats on top of that liquid. And that floating ceiling is there for exactly what he's about to say, to trap the gas above the level of the liquid. And then that gas is then released out the top of the tanks. So, he's about to go into all this. I didn't think I was gonna get through this video. I kind of am. I've been skipping around a little bit. So, like I said, watch it. You watch it, yourself. I put it in the. I think I put it in the comments of this video, and I also put it in the chat. So, I don't know if the chat's going to carry over though, because it doesn't always work that way with YouTube.
High enough inside this tank through heat or any other accident, it will release gases. If you overfill the tank, it will release the jet fuel. It is a pressure relief valve that has a setting. This is the exact same thing as a thermostat in your car. Your car has thermostats in the cooling that open and close. It's a thermostat. It's called a pop-off valve. Okay. That's where the gases go up. There's dumbasses on the internet saying, well, the jet fuel won't ignite. The fumes won't ignite.
Dumbasses.
If Paddock would have hit the pop-off valve, well, nobody's saying that. Nobody's ever brought it up but me. I'm the first one. I'm the only one ever to bring this up. Okay. That he was aiming for the pop-off valves. He was trying to blow the fucking tanks up. All right. I've got proof. Not lying. It's right there in your face. There's circumstantial. It's proof in a court of law that that you could submit under the 100 rules of evidence. You could bring it in. You could bring in expert testimony under the 700 rules of federal or state court. 700 series, admissible evidence by an expert. 100 series rules, admissible evidence of conduct during the crime. Those pop-off valves at the top, that's where the fumes go. Just shooting a hole through the side of the tank, that's not going to do a damn thing. You can.
Now, he's right and he's wrong about that. Like I said, you gotta understand that, if the tank is full, then yes, there's not a lot of fumes in that tank. That means it would be mainly filled with fuel, liquid. And I did messages to him, man. Hunter, during his last days there, we were talking about this, and he had an expert at his work that knew about jet fuel and burn rates of jet fuel and stuff like that, commercial jet fuel versus military grade jet fuel, stuff like that. And he was trying to figure out if one of those rounds could actually ignite jet fuel. And he never got around to it. He never, I think the person he was looking for was out of the country or something like that at the time. And he didn't, he never got back to him about that. But the idea behind, these tanks, at least my understanding of them, at least the way oil refineries work within this situation is, again, you have the bottom of the tank is always going to be your fuel, your liquid. The gases are released above that liquid, and there is, like I said, a floating ceiling inside of those tanks. And so you would have, depending on how full that tank was, if the tank was half full, half of that tank would be fumes. Well, those fumes are going to ignite. It's the same shit that's off gassing out at the top. So they will ignite if they are, because fumes would definitely ignite faster. I mean, I'm no scientist with this shit, but I can assume that the fumes are going to ignite a hell of a lot easier than the stupid fuel itself. Because people have always said that jet fuel cannot be ignited by one of these rounds. I don't fucking know, but yeah, the gas that's coming out of the pop-off valve at the top is the same gas that's being trapped on the top. It's just when that gas, becomes overwhelming for that system, then it goes through the valve at the top. So yes and no. You're right that if you shot into that tank and it was full of fuel, ain't gonna do nothing. I don't think. If you shot into that tank and it was basically empty or close to empty, then yeah, it would do some damage, I think. But he ain't gonna get through that tank with the bullets he was firing, obviously, because he didn't.
And shoot a hole in the side of a gas can, it's not going to blow the gas can up. You hit the fumes at the top of that gas can where it's just fumes, it will blow up. Do you understand me? I pray you do. Okay. Now look at the fuel tank. Look where the 2 shots hit. They're almost vertical. He had 1 shot here, 1 shot here, a little bit off. He had 1 shot on a vertical line. He had 1 shot here and 1 shot here. The top one, the second shot was on the lip. He hit that first shot. He could see what he's doing. He's got scope. Dude's got.
Yeah. So okay, I'll read this. Jet fuel is closer to diesel than gas, so I would think it would take more than a bullet piercing a sheet of metal to ignite. It's not that it was a well. So you're right, but we're not talking about regular bullets, right? These were the incendiary rounds, the AP. God, what were they? I forget how they worded them, but they're in the Hague report. But basically, they're armor-piercing incendiary rounds, and so I believe they're phosphorus. I'm not sure, but I think they're phosphorus. So when the bullet hits, the bullet strikes, and it shoots out this the center core of phosphorus, I believe. You can look at it in the Hague report. There's all kinds of stuff. So that I don't know. See, that's a problem. Like I don't know how hot that stuff burns, and I believe it is in the report. And whether that stuff burns hot enough to actually ignite jet fuel, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know.
Got a freaking scope, guys. He sees what he's doing. I need to go higher. He goes up higher, hits that second one. Okay. What time is it that he's taking these shots? What time is it? It's right about the time that he's about to have to get out of that room and go back and go shoot Campos again. And here comes Shuck. It's about 10:10. It's deep. We're deep into 10:09 p.m. Now we're deep into 10:09 p.m. We're right at 10:10 when Shuck and them come. He's got a camera in the room. He hears me. He knows what's going on. Shuck's out in the hall.
That's an interesting take, also, man, because he's bringing up a pretty good point, man. At what time did he basically just say, fuck these tanks? I'm gonna go shoot these people down the hallway because they're more of an imminent threat than what's going on outside. That's interesting. That's an interesting idea there. And again, I haven't thought it through all that much, but it is an interesting idea.
Way on the fucking radio, on his cell phone, and Shuck's using a radio out in the hallway. I mean, not Shuck, Campos. Campos is in the hallway. He's just right around.
Okay, just heads up, his volume does go out here. I don't know why the volume goes out here, but the volume does go out here. And the rest of this video is fairly quiet.
The corner from him. Paddock hears him. He knows he's out in that fucking hallway still. You understand? That's why he stopped. He made 2 shots at that fuel tank. That's it. He hit the tank both times. I mean, it's right in front of him. It's big. It's 3 stories tall.
So he's saying that, yeah, basically what I just said. He sees more of an imminent threat down the hallway, so he gives up on the tanks and then he goes and shoots down the hallway, which, I mean, it's very well possible. It's very well possible. I don't know for sure, but it's very well possible. Paddock could not hear shit after a few hundred rounds. He had to go back and look at the cam. Yeah, but he could carry that cam with him, right? So the NRAN system, he could have carried that with him everywhere. It's just basically he's carrying an iPad with him everywhere. So that thing was movable. It wasn't also he did have in 134 in the hallway, he had the laptop that was connected to the webcam. So you know, he did, even if he was in 134 shooting out that window, he couldn't see. Of course, we don't know where that laptop, you know, because the laptop is on the cart, but we don't know where that cart was in the room in relation to when the firing was going on, when the actual event was happening. So, you know, we don't know if he could actually see that laptop from the perch that he had in 134. I would assume he would, because where the camera actually is, where the laptop is in the final report, is kind of bullshit. You can't see that from anywhere in that room unless you're looking straight down that hallway. It's kind of weird. So yeah, but yeah, you had to look. You couldn't. Yeah, you were. I see where you're going with that.
He's going for the top, those pop-off valves. He shot too low on the first one. Second one hit the top left.
So Ten's always hung to this thing that he thinks that he was shooting at the pop-off valves at the top. I believe later in this he goes into, and I'll probably skip through it, but I believe he goes into claiming that, you know, the reason he wanted the 200 wing and not the 100 wing is because it was closer to those tanks, and they would actually be able to hit those valves. So here's the thing with this, like, you know, and I believe, you know, and this is just my, you know, I don't really go off of let's see, how do I word this? I don't usually try and put the cart before the horse. I don't usually say what a theory is or whatever. I just try to say what the evidence is, and try and figure out what we have there. And we have a lack of evidence on a lot of this stuff, so I don't really have a lot of opinions on some of this stuff. So he had no evidence. He had hearing protection. What he had was you know, on the corpse itself, he did have earplugs. They were in a bag in the bedroom that he didn't actually use. It would seem, unless you put those earplugs back in that bag. I doubt it. But he was found, the corpse had tissue paper stuffed in the ears, right? So basically, I'm guessing and I think it was labeled as tissue paper. So I'm guessing that was probably toilet paper or something of that nature, you know, shoved into his ears. So, you know, take for that what you will. The thing is, like, Ten, you know, left this community before some of the information had come out that is out now. So I don't think he knows about the vault. I let him know about it after I saw this video. I did send him a message. You know, that there is information in the vault. The thing that is interesting about the vault, and this is where I think that these particular rounds, the exploding things, was originally meant for. It says in there the FBI were calling the Tropicana, asking the Tropicana, and I've said this a couple times, so you've probably heard this before, right? Some of you. He called the FBI called Tropicana and said, "We want to talk to you." And this is me paraphrasing it. "We want to talk to you in reference of Stephen Paddock wanting room." I think it was like 2120 or something like that at the Tropicana during the time of the event, or during the time of the shooting. I forget how it was worded exactly, but you know, that tells me that Paddock was trying to get a room at Tropicana, probably because he wasn't happy with his room at the Mandalay Bay. Or it could be that the Tropicana was the original idea all along. We just don't know. But the thing is, that room from the Tropicana overlooked the venue also. There is an actual room tour online of that exact room. And basically they got in the Tropicana, it's a little different. They have windows that do open. They open at like a 90-degree angle or whatever, because they have that little winder at the bottom. They're old school windows, and you know, so they open outwards, kind of vertically or whatever. And so when you open that window, it's interesting, you know, because when you watch the walkthrough, the guy doesn't actually open the window, but you look out that window and you see straight down the venue. The closest thing to that window is a gas station. So I can only imagine what would happen if this motherfucker went and took all that tannerite and, say, threw it in a plastic trash can at the gas station and lit that fucker up, and what kind of chaos that would have caused. I mean, these bullets aren't going to penetrate, a steel tank with jet fuel. What do you think they could do to a gas pump? That would be fucking insane. And the fact that you had all the tannerite and stuff like that. I mean, you blow the valves right off of that gas station. I don't know what kind of damage that would do. It seems to me though it'd be pretty significant. You have a hell of a bonfire going that night. And but to me that's kind of, it seems to me like that would have been more of a cohesive plan than what actually happened. And the fact that they say during the time of the event or during the time of the shooting or whatever tells me that it causes problems in a way, because if he did want the 200 wing, well, it's further from the gas station, so that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But the fact that he wanted that room in the Tropicana during the time of the shooting, well, that's, I mean, again, did he plan this out 6 months in advance? Did he plan it out on the spot while he was there? I mean, I'm sure some parts of it were planned out, premeditated, but was it all like that, or was, I just don't know. I don't know. It's but it's interesting to think about. And this information was out after 10 kind of quit paying attention to the Vegas stuff. Like I said, I did mention it to him, so we'll see if he comes out with a part 2 of this video and talks about what he's found, because I'm actually kind of curious. Not a lot of people have read what's in the vault. Not a lot of people have gone over that. I did quite a bit, but I'm just me, man. Like I said, he's coming up with ideas here that I'm just like, wow, dude, I never even thought about that. It's interesting, and that's why I enjoy these videos.
Something spooked him. Something spooked him, and that something was Campos. Campos in the hallway. That's what spooked him.
Anyway, so his idea here is that he was firing at the tanks. He stopped firing at the tanks to go deal with Campos and Chuck. And it's like, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I don't know for sure. But it is possible. Skip forward a little bit here.
This guy was so smart. He's like, well, I'm going to use this ammunition. It'll make us.
Oh, man. Having connection issues today, man. That sucks.
Smaller hole.
There we go.
See, it'll make a smaller hole. They can't see through that fucking hole. But as soon as it gets through the door, it turns into a shotgun type effect. And damn you, if you don't believe me, just go look at the fucking pictures. Just look.
So, and this is where I'm kind of gonna. I don't know if I agree with them or not. I mean, it's very well possible what he's saying is accurate. It's just that I have an issue because so basically what he's saying here, what the crux of this conversation is he's trying to say that since they're frangible ammunition, when he shoots at the door, it basically just explodes into nonsense, right? And it goes everywhere. It just which would explain why Campbell thought he was shot with a pellet gun, because this thing's basically just the frangible ammo just turns into shit once it hits something. So he's trying to say that when he shoots at the door basically turns that bullet into a shotgun and just scatters shit everywhere. Could be true. The problem I have with it, to be honest, is that when we look at the report in that hallway, they do mention strikes. There are the photos that he did at the beginning, which I don't even know where he got those damn photos from. But there are the photos at the beginning where he's showing the hallway and all the markers on the hallway. It's possible he's right about this. But it is very strange that they would mark up, like I said, I believe it's 33 strikes in the hallway on the report. And, that's how many bullets were fired out of that door. So the whole idea of a shotgun thing is it's hard to it's hard to put all that together. It's hard to put all that together. Now, maybe there is a core of the bullet that does stay intact on some of these rounds, and those actually do lodge into things, and they're pulling the bullets out of those, and then the rest of the bullet is fragmenting all over the damn place. I mean, that's totally possible. I just, yeah, I have a problem with that report. The idea of him shooting frangible ammo and it just scattering as soon as it hits that door, when the report is saying that there were strikes down up and down that hallway, and those strikes do match the amount of holes we basically see in the door.
Look at the freaking pictures, and look how close. Look how close. I mean, 6 feet on the other side of the door. The wall is just peppered like a shotgun hit it. Okay.
There were 11 strikes. That's the amazing thing about what happened that night is there are 11 strikes on the oh my God, 129? Yeah, it's 129. In the alcove of 129, there's like 11 strikes, I believe, if I remember right, which is pretty crazy, you know. And that does match up with Campos, because Campos was saying that's where he was standing when the bullets started ringing out and he ran down that hallway. But it's insane, because when you stand in those hallways, you know, because I've done this, and I think I've even had videos where I've actually shown me doing, you know, shown the view, the angle of that. You know, there's not a lot of, I mean, it's crazy, the angle of that. But then 10 in the beginning of this, which helped me out a little bit on that, because to aim down that little sliver of alcove through a blind door is fucking insane to actually hit that. Because, you know, when you're looking down a hallway and you're looking down a little ass alcove, only about maybe a foot of that freaking alcove sticks out. And they're saying that it got hit 11 times. It's like, holy shit, that's crazy. Through a blind door? That's fucking nuts. But, you know, it could add credence to exactly what he's saying, man. These things are scattering as they're going through that door, and they're just peppering everywhere. And those 11 strikes, you know, when he showed his pictures at the beginning, those 11 strikes didn't necessarily have to be in that little 1.5 foot alcove. They could have been, you know, on the side of it, all over the place, you know, which would have given him a bigger window of what he was shooting at. I don't know.
I got that one right too, didn't I? Boom, you know it, baby. That's why I said some of these people just, you got somebody, when I was in that community.
I love when he goes off like
people.
this. Love it.
Hard-headed people. They were so locked in on this other stupid shit that they couldn't see the forest because there were so many trees in front of them. Okay, I think I'm on my last thing. I am on the last thing.
I just love it when he goes off.
And I saved the best for last. I really did, folks. He checked into the hotel. He went down to the front desk. He told us.
And towards the end here, you start to have audio problems. I don't know what's going on with his. I think he's using his phone. But he started to have audio problems where the audio does not completely match up. It's a little disjointed from the video. But hey, it's all good, man.
Front desk. I requested the other side of the hotel. I didn't request this side.
And see, this is the part he doesn't really, I don't think he knows that he did try to get a room at the Tropicana at this time. And I don't know when he tried to get that room. They don't really explain. But I'm guessing it's about the same damn time as what he's talking about right now.
I requested that side. Can you get me a room over there? You know, up in the air, of course. Same floor. Same area. They said, no, we don't have one available. Sorry.
So I believe when he originally checked in, it was just to push back a little bit here. I believe when he checked in, he originally said he wanted something in the 200 wing. He didn't care what floor it was. Although the argument to that is he was getting a suite, and he probably knows that those are on higher floors. He's a high roller, so obviously they're going to give him something with a view. So I'm guessing, that was where the disconnect there was with that statement as far as didn't care what floor it was, right? But if like, I mean, and I'm just speculating, pure speculation with me, but you know, is the way I rationalize it in my head is if you know that the Vista suites, the suites that they're going to give you are something on a high floor automatically because they want to give you a view of whatever it is, and you just say, yeah, just give me that wing. Don't care what floor it is, and you know that the suites are from like floor 20 to floor 30 something, then you're going to get something, in the range of what you want. But again, that's speculation on my part, and I'm just trying to kind of add context to that. But I don't think 10. Well, I know 10 doesn't know at this point. At least when he made this video, that he did actually ask for a room at Tropicana. That was, I think it was the 20th floor, maybe the 21st floor. I could have my numbers wrong.
Stop.
I don't remember.
Why would he do that? Well, the best explanation I heard up to this was he's just trying to cover his ass, trying to make it look like he's covering.
So Hunter thought he wanted the 200 wing, and I thought this was kind of nutty, to be honest with you, but he thought he wanted the 200 wing so that he could watch the police gather at the because from 200 wing he could see the was it the South Central Area Command, or was it or was that convention center? I think it was South, where they actually did gather. That would have had the Mandalay Bay would have had a view of that, but that's crazy. If he had the foresight to say, well, there's a police station, that's where they're all going to gather. I don't know about that, man. I think I would have thought the police are just going to scatter all over the city and they're going to come get me. But that was just a Hunter thing. It's not what 10 is saying here at all.
For himself, trying to part of his plan to convince everybody he's not doing anything right. That's not what he wanted. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. I saved the best for last because this is the truth. He requested the other side of the hotel. If he was going to shoot the top of that fuel tank, folks, he literally look out the window and he's right. I mean, he is directly above the top of that tank. The other side of that hotel.
So he throws a lot of emphasis on the fuel tanks, and I think he's got a point here. If he's right, which again, I don't know if he is. I don't know if I agree with this whole line of shooting the pop-off valve stuff. He might be, though. I mean, it's very well possible that this was backup plan, and or that the Tropicana was a backup plan or something of that nature. I don't know, but honestly, I think that's why he had the Tannerite, because he didn't use the Tannerite. He left it in the car. I don't know, but straight up, if he was in the 200 wing, he's actually right, dude. He could have actually probably hit those valves. From the 100 wing, I don't think he could have hit those valves. I don't think Paddock was a good enough shot, obviously, because he didn't hit him to hit those valves.
200 wing. He requested the 200 wing. He's right above that fuel tank. He's still got an angle at the concert.
He's just not that good.
That stage, it just had this, it looks like netting in the back, netting on the sides.
Yeah, I think that's that windproof stuff.
Of course, a bullet will go right through that netting. There was no, when you look at that stage, you think, well, the stage would have stopped all the bullets. That's not at all true. Only the roof of the stage would. And then,
oh yeah, I know. You're calling Paddock a dumbass. I know you're not talking about 10. No, I get it. Hopefully, if he's watching this, we'll see. Then, just so you know, 10, he's not calling you a dumbass. He's talking about Paddock. We were talking about the earplugs at that time.
There was holes up there on the roof. There's FBI. There's photographs from the first days. The FBI was up there on top of the roof of the concert of the pavilion, where on top of Jason Aldean, where he was performing. The FBI was up there looking at bullet strikes. I mean, that's how you know right off the bat that it had to be somebody up in the air. You see the FBI up there, with little evidence markers. All of this was researched, man. So why would he want the 200 wing? Because when you get on YouTube and you look at the video of, say, you can ask YouTube for a video of room 235 or, the suite, the Vista suite on the other side of the hotel, identical to the suite he had, has a connecting room. It's on.
You know what's crazy about those Vista suites is that you cannot, if you go online, there's no such thing as a Vista suite. If you try to book a room with the Mandalay Bay, they don't have Vista suites. They have other names for them. I forget what they're called, but they don't actually have them as Vista suites. When I stayed there in one of those, what we had to do is, and I've again, a lot of this is regurgitated information. I don't have any new information to really talk about here, because there hasn't been anything released. But when you go online and you say, you look at the Mandalay Bay, at the time that I did this, at least, there was no such thing as a Vista suite. So what you had to do is I got my ex-girlfriend now. She was kind of a high roller in Vegas, man. She spent a lot of money over there. And during COVID, you didn't have to spend that much to be a high roller, right? Because nobody was going there. So she was a high roller for a couple of years there, or considered one. And so when we wanted the Vista suite, I told her I want a paddock suite. She's like, well, I can't ask for that because they're going to tell me to fuck off and they're probably going to ban me from the property. I was like, okay, tell them we want a Vista suite because that's what they're called. And so that's what she had to ask for. And that's why we got the room that we got, because it's not online. You can't ask for a Vista suite. It wasn't at the time, at least. I don't know what it is now because I haven't checked for a while, but you could not rent those suites. You had to, they probably used them as bump up rooms if, they wanted to bump you up in your room. But otherwise, yeah, you couldn't ask for those things. Obviously, she asked her host for it and we ended up with it. But yeah, those are interesting rooms.
The other side. But guess what? Stephen Paddock would not have to break a window. Okay, he's in 135. Where he's at right now, he really needed to be. He needed to be over there he needed to be at the window by 134. He didn't break that window because they've got that big long couch there. They've got that. You understand? There's a big long couch there.
So now he's talking about.
So he didn't break that window.
And 10 is actually talking about the window that is not broken. He's talking about the famous Hoover window. We have curtains open on a window that is not broken. Those curtains were actually opened by one of the cops. It wasn't even opened by Paddock. So those curtains were closed, at least during the beginning of the breach. Later, one of the breachers actually went and opened the curtains on that window and looked out.
He would have easily been able to go from that window to room 134, go back and forth. But there's something more important. That's why he ended up, he didn't get what he wanted. So he had to move over to that other window. But when I tell you this, it's going to blow your fucking mind away. If you ever see a video of
that is interesting to think about, and to me, that was always the thing, right? What was going through Paddock's mind when all this was happening? Like, what was the planning stage of this? Like, if, maybe there was a plan in place and he did not actually shoot out the window he wanted to shoot out, and he didn't want to move that couch because that was going to be too much of a fucking mess. And It's an interesting way of thinking about things. And maybe the 200 wing, he knew how those were situated, how those were organized, and they would be a little different. He'd have a different shooting angle altogether from the 100 wing or the 200 wing as opposed to what he had in the 100 wing. It's interesting. It's interesting to think about.
The other side, the Vista Suites that are on the 200 wing, and you look over to where that concert venue is, you're not going to use the Vista Suite to do any shooting. All of your shooting is going to be in the connecting room, the small queen suite right next to the Vista Suite and the 200 wing. You wouldn't need two rooms.
Now, I think he's right about this. I don't remember exactly, but I believe when you get into the 200 wing, I believe he's right about the facing of the connecting room. I believe the connecting room would be facing the concert area, and therefore, and it would also be right over the fuel tank. So I believe that's what he's trying to say here. And to my memory, he's correct about that. Again, this is going off memory of the floor plan that I took a picture of when I was there.
Need it. Paddock's problem with the setup over in the 300 wing that he was in, his problem is he couldn't get an angle. He couldn't get an angle of that fuel tank unless he was in that queen suite next to him. He just couldn't do it. He couldn't.
I disagree with that. Now I think what he's talking about here, and maybe I had him wrong in what he's talking about, the window that was not broken. Maybe he's talking about the couch that is sitting in front of that window next to room 134 by the television. He might be talking about that window. But I would think, because those are facing the exact same direction as the 134 window, the angling of that, I don't know if that's going to be a problem. I don't think it is, because I think the tanks were slightly to the north, which means that window would have been slightly closer to those tanks. But he did have a couch there. He was going to be knees on the couch. So I don't know. I don't know if that was a factor in that.
Get that right angle. He would have had to expose himself. He would have had to pull the curtain back around him, and he would have had to almost lean out the fucking window to hit the fuel tank from room 135, from the large Vista Suite where he killed all the people in the concert.
Now, the interesting thing about this is that's going to make me think about it. That's going to make me go back and look, because I'm actually curious now what he's actually saying here. He's kind of saying it's going to be problematic hitting that fuel tank from 135 from the side windows there. So I'm kind of curious about that. I'm gonna have to look that up later. It's making me think about things. Making me think. That's what I like. That's exactly what I like.
In order for him to hit the fuel tank, he would have literally had to pull the curtain back. But instead, he fired through the curtains. He fired through the curtains. I can't shoot the fuel tanks there. If I try to shoot the fuel tanks there, a sniper is going to get me. They're going to see me. The gig's up. He would lose time. So that's why he broke the window in 134 in the Queen Suite. That's why he broke it to go after the fuel tank. Okay, what I'm trying to say is the other side of the concert venue, it's the opposite. Everything. He could shoot the concert from the adjoining room.
Now, again, I don't know if I agree with all this, because I don't know if he shot through those curtains or not. I don't know if I still believe all that. But I mean, hey, this is your idea. This is your theory. I'm down with it. It's just that I don't know if that was the case. I still have problems with it. And what I'm thinking here is, that curtain would have been shredded. And if there was an extensive amount of damage to that curtain to where, he was shooting 1,000 rounds through a curtain, that would be extensive damage. And I'm thinking, and I could be wrong here, but I'm thinking when we see the breach, we see that curtain blowing in, we don't see an extensive amount of damage on that curtain. We only get a glimpse of it for a couple seconds, but it does not look like there's 1,000 holes in that curtain at that point. But again, I could be wrong. There could be a way of saying that the curtain was closed more than it was, and the part of the curtain that is exposed is not the part he was shooting through. I don't know.
And oh my God, I mean, you're looking straight down on top of that fuel tank, right at the pop-off valves. That guy had an airline pilot. He was an airline. It's not an airlines pilot. He was a private plane pilot. He knew everything about jet fuel. People saying he was stupid. He shot the middle of the fuel tank. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, man. He's well over. He's almost a half mile. He's between a quarter mile and a half mile from the fuel tank over in 134. He is literally, folks, he is 200 yards closer, and he has a better angle looking straight down on top of the lid on that top of that fuel tank. He's looking right down at those pop-off valves. They got cameras up there. They got a light up there. They got it all up there. They got to keep an eye on that the top of that tank, make sure nobody's messing with it. They got to understand what that pop-off.
I think we've gone enough through the fuel tank idea here. I'm going to skip forward a little bit.
He blows a big hole. Kills himself and blows a big old hole in the hotel.
Okay, so with this, he's going off his idea that what he's saying is he thinks that Paddock was going to bring the Tannerite up in the room, and I'll just paraphrase this because I think this is where it ends. I think he ends with this. So his theory here, a hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, is basically he's trying to say that Paddock's original plan was to bring the Tannerite up in the room and have a big explosion inside of the room, killing himself and God knows who else. I don't know if that was the case. And he's saying that the reason it didn't happen is because he started to get sus with all the baggage he was bringing up. I don't know if he cared about that. Like that's my issue with that is I don't know if he would have given a shit about that. He carried so much baggage up there. I don't know if he cared. He could always wheeled it in, because there were only 2 bags, I think, with the Tannerite in it left in his car. And they were left in the car, which is the other problem, with ammunition, which is another problem. No guns, but there was ammunition in that car. And, I don't know if he would have cared about bringing a couple more bags up. He could have wheeled those up, brought them in himself. He didn't have to bring them in, with the valet or anything like that. Or he could have just dumped them into one of the valet carts too with everything else. They weren't that big of bags because we do have photos of those. So I don't know if I agree with that. But, honestly, again, it's my speculation. I think that the Tannerite would have been better used from the Tropicana than from the Mandalay Bay. But whether or not that was part of the plan, I don't know. It's just speculation because there's not enough information out there. But I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all he talks about here. We are at the end of his video. Again, I skipped around quite a bit, and you can go watch it for yourself if you want. I think it was a very good video. This is old school Vegas, man. This is the way shit used to happen. This is the way that the conversation used to be. Is people just throw out videos, have their theories, use whatever evidence they've had to match their theories, and do that sort of thing. This was like a blast from the past. This was nostalgia. This is great. And hey man, even if you disagree with them or you disagree with what he's saying or whatever, it's still a good video. This is what we used to do. This is how it was in the early days. So I love to see it, man. I love to see this sort of thing. And like I said, even if I disagree with some of what you're saying, I love the video, man. I had a good time watching this. And but with that, I think I'm going to end this. I think I'm going to get out of here. I think I ranted long enough, jabbered long enough about this sort of stuff. But again, yeah, it's how we used to do it. It's how we used to do it. And I miss it, in the early days. and we would sit there and go back and forth with these videos just like I am now, and just talk about each other's theories and stuff like that, and poke holes in each other's theories, and then theories would change, things would change, and people would come back, and we go back and forth. So love to see it, man. So thanks for the video, 10. I just want to say, man, thank you very much, dude. I really do appreciate it. I may disagree with some of the things you're saying, but it doesn't matter, bro. It's all good, dude. It's all water under the bridge, all the bullshit that happened in the past, all the fucking madness and the nonsense, who likes who doesn't like who. I don't give a shit, man. It is good to see a video like this pop up again. Since really, all we're getting is the slop from the mainstream conspiracy theorists, and I just don't. Yeah, I can't watch that shit. But everybody have a good day, man. Thanks for joining along. If you want to see the video, I did put it in the comments already. In the chat here, there's the links for the videos. This one, the video he originally was referencing, which was the weird zoomed in video of one of LVSA's videos that's on his channel, and then there's the original to that he used. So for that zoom in, so everything is there. Hopefully the chat uploads. Doesn't always upload when these live streams upload. It doesn't always upload right away. Sometimes the live stream will upload first, and then the chat will come later. So it's hard to say. But hey, man, it's good to see you, 10. It's good to see you doing well. It's good to see another video from you, man. So I do appreciate it. And everybody have a good day, man.
Dude, pointed stick.
Pointed stick. Pointed stick.
Pointed stick.
Pointed stick.
Pointed stick?
Pointed stick.
Whoa, pointed stick.
That pointed stick.
Pointed stick!
Stick. We don't have any time for your trolling behavior on this channel. It just isn't welcome here. And so, good riddance to you.